Hello, everybody. Welcome to Government Secrets. I'm not in my studio, obviously. I'm on the road in a friend's apartment. That sounds sketchy, right? So before we bring Lee on here to get into some Gov Seeks, thank you, everybody watching on the CIA Tube and Twitch, and, of course, everybody over at rockfin.com. So share this out on your social media. Well, let me take that. That PV thing is off in the thing. Sorry. Hold on. Where is that? No, that's not what we want. There. Okay. So share this out on your social media. Hello, everybody. Kate, not feeling great. So Holly is our moderator if she's here. I'm not sure if she's here yet, but I am in Los Angeles. And yeah, everybody watching on Twitch, say hello. On whatever platform you're watching, hit the like button. That always helps. And again, just share this on your social media. Let's bring him on, ladies and gentlemen. Here he is, Lee Camp.
Hey.
What's up, buddy?
Hey, man. I think it's the first time I've seen somebody on a webcam with the back of a computer behind them. It's like you're in a computer storage facility or something.
Yeah, don't worry about it. I mean, just, I got to find other revenue streams, Lee. So maybe that's a Bitcoin mine. You don't know what's going on.
There you go. That's why there's 14 computers behind Graham.
Just stacked up. That's all because I've been so demonetized and throttled.
You see him sweating halfway through because of the heat the room is generating.
Yeah, that's it.
But I do feel like your hotel artist has stepped up its game. So,
well, because this is an actual friend's apartment. I don't think a hotel would have this cool Cinzano thing. So, yeah, they would never put something that cool. And
how the show's going?
The shows were great, man. The week of shows in Chicago were awesome at the Zanies, and I'm getting my hour together, dude. I've got a special. It's coming together. And it's very anti two-party system. It's calling out, and I tried it in front of a regular comedy club audience, and they were like down with it, and I was like, oh.
I find that regular people are overrated, though.
I just mean they weren't all a bunch of lefty wingnuts like us. That's what.
No, I know what you meant. I gathered it. I stand by my statement.
So yeah, and then I've got shows this week or next week rather. Actually, Nick Schwartzen's performing at the Brea Improv tonight, and I was going to pop by the Late Show and do a guest spot. And then Thursday, the 28th, I am headlining at Flappers in Burbank with Ron Placone and Shoshonia Livingston, that's been on the Anything Can Happen game show. And Marilyn Rice Cup was going to do it, but she has to fly to Canada to do some TV show because she's a big famous person. So Rosie Tran, who's also been on the show numerous times, is going to do it.
Well, on the Anything Can Happen game show, anything can happen, like the person not showing up. So.
Yeah, they can just I'm getting a paid TV show, so why would I do a set for like half of a ham sandwich at Flappers in Burbank for Graham? So yeah, and then Saturday, Sunday, the 29th and 30th, I'm in Ventura Harbor Comedy Club, and then Ron Placone and I are doing the Pacific Northwest, Portland, July 28th, Seattle, July 29th, and Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, July 30th. So that's all at grabalwood.com.
Nice. Exciting. I highly recommend the show. I give it 2 thumbs up. So,
yeah. So do you want to do a Twigs? You got a This Week in Government Secrets for us, Lee?
Well, I thought we'd just talk for a moment about Earth Day, because it is Earth Day. And the government secret is that our government doesn't give a flying fuck about the Earth at all.
What?
And Earth Day, honestly, like maybe not the first one, but essentially most of them have been designed to actually do the opposite, to make everybody think something's being done to save our future, and nothing's being done.
Well, again, I was watching the news this morning. I always watch the regular news in the morning just to kind of see what lies are being told and just get the weather.
Don't give away, I know you've already seen it, so don't give away the Biden clip because I'm going to play it.
Oh, okay. And it's like, here's things you can do in your house. And I'm like, that's great. That's all well and good. But again, it's ours. We got to do this. Like,
right.
Why is this our responsibility?
It's the system. And if they think that telling people to change their light bulbs is the solution we need right now, then their head is so deep up their ass. They could be fracking there.
I mean, here I was thinking that the United States military was the #1 contributor to pollution, but I guess it's my fault. We don't have enough canvas shopping bags when I go to the store. That's okay.
Well, Graham, you'll be happy to hear that the military problem has been handled. Biden addressed it.
Oh, this is why I was so excited when he got elected. That was so great. Yes.
Hold on. I'm going to mute my mic so there's not an echo. But
all right, I'll add this to the stream. Here we go. Oh shit, I got to change show starting soon. That's not fun. Hold on. Where is it? This is what happens when Kate's not here. I don't know what I'm doing. Hold on.
Sorry about that. We'll continue in a moment.
There we go. Labir Pay. Okay, boom. Here we go.
All right, one more second.
In the United States military, every vehicle is going to be climate friendly. Every vehicle. We're going to vote. No, I mean it. We're spending billions of dollars to do it. And
there you go. That should handle it. Biden says that every military vehicle is going to be quote unquote climate friendly, not carbon neutral, just friendly. Like if the tank comes across a daisy, it's going to drive around it. It's going to go around the daisy.
I mean, I was like, I'm so excited. We're going to have green bombs. I'm just so excited. Like, how are we going to the rockets, the Tomahawk missiles? Are those going to be environmentally friendly? Like, can you explain that to me?
There is nothing more environmentally deadly than our military, not just in terms of destroying societies, which is what you're talking about, the bombs and everything, but in terms of just straight up carbon emissions.
Yeah. They
are the #1 organized carbon emitter on the planet.
Yeah. And again, typical of the insane, violent, crazy, authoritarian American empire, rather than like, hey, we need to do no more war. It's like, no, we're still going to do war, but it's going to be green war. We're going to have hybrid drones or what like, it's just, this is the dumb idiot, Joe Biden, who is an idiot, who's dumb and has cognitive decline. Like,
well, the saddest part is during that speech, he thought he was facing forward. For those of you listening at home, he's facing the wrong direction during that clip.
Well, it's why marijuana needs to be decriminalized on a federal level, because it might help his memory if he started smoking a little weed. But this insane notion that we can never, there's never going to be a like, oh, no more war. And Joe Biden, remember, during the Democratic primary said, we need a middle ground on climate policy, which is going to get us all killed. Like, yeah. This is just typical. Yeah. All of his plans are like fantastic for 1983. Like, we're past this. Like,
yeah,
it's.
And they use Earth Day to, like, many companies use Earth Day as like a sale day. Like, come buy shit for the Earth, for the planet. If you buy stuff, that will save us. And it's like, no, that's the polar opposite of what we should be doing.
Yes. This is what someone put in the chat. I'm going to put this out there. Lockheed Martin discount recyclable dumpster contracts for your local municipality. See, that's how I'll do it. We'll just let Boeing and Raytheon handle the recycling. It's just like, we need to do more recycling. No, we need to stop making plastic. We need to get rid of plastic. There's 5 islands of floating garbage. And it's not because regular citizens don't recycle enough. It's because these corporations that plunder the earth and the resources are completely unchecked.
Yeah, and plastic is another great example, because you'll see ads and stuff and articles saying Americans are addicted to plastic. And it's like, well, no, actually, if you get to the heart of it, Americans would use what was given in it. Like if the only type of toothbrush available in the store was biodegradable, plastic substance or whatever,
yes,
we would buy those. So really, it's corporations are addicted to plastic.
Yeah, it is. Because again, I'm old enough to remember as a kid before plastics. I had wax paper around my sandwiches. I had a reusable thermos that was like a metal. I had Coke bottles. There was no and you gave them back. Like I remember a time before everything was plastic, like everything. And so yeah, they gave it to us and said, here, buy it. It's cheaper. Buy it. And we were like, what do we, okay. Like if they said, no, you can't have this anymore, like you said. And there are toothbrushes out there that are made from bamboo and recycled plastic and compostable plastic. All that stuff exists, but these big corporations have no incentive to make this on a mass scale. And the sad reality is the only way to reverse climate collapse, it's going to take a top-down solution. It's not you and I. If we all recycle more, okay, great. But that's not going to be enough. If these companies can still do whatever they want,
we need a full on like climate revolution. And you have to look at the systemic problems, not just tell people, man, this sucks that you're driving your car. There needs to be full systemic change. And not to, we haven't even gotten into the fact that all this is subsidized. Like oil companies are subsidized to the tune of trillions of dollars a year to make sure we keep using oil. If those subsidies were switched to green energy and green movements, then it could be done overnight. I mean, it could be done incredibly fast if you were to subsidize it the way we subsidize big oil and the way we subsidize the plastics industry and the way we subsidize big ag. One of the biggest climate killers on the planet is animal agriculture, big agriculture, and factory farming. And those are subsidized to a crazy amount. Like a hamburger at McDonald's costs $1. And if it were to have the actual true price, it'd be like $200. So our government subsidizes it all so that we can keep killing the planet at this rate.
Yeah. So we have cheap hamburgers. I mean, it's just like, yeah, the knowledge that it's us individuals. And that's such the lie of capitalism too. Like, well, we're just giving the people what they want. No. You told us all to buy. You found stuff that was cheaper. No. You don't give me that crap. You ship jobs overseas, not because, it's going to make our Levi's cost $300. No, you did that so that you could have a house in the Hamptons and fly your dick rocket around the planet or whatever. Like that's what this is about. So like
Bezos thanking Amazon workers and purchasers for allowing him to go to space.
Oh. And the American people, because he got a lot of tax money to do that as well. So he didn't even pay for his own stupid dick rocket. Like it's unbelievable. So that's This Week in Government Secrets, Earth Day. It's your fault, regular people. It's not the corporations and the government and the American empire's fault that could literally fix this overnight. It could fix this overnight. Yeah. And it won't. Yeah. But so get a reusable straw. While we just sent $3.5 billion to the Ukraine for a bullshit proxy war. But yeah.
One of my favorites was I was walking through one of these hellish stores and they were selling reusable metal straws, which, okay, I get the idea, hypothetically, better than using 1,000 plastic straws. But it's in a thick plastic material, it being sold. But on top of that, it comes with a plastic container that you're going to keep your collapsible metal straw in and a metal carabiner to hook your straw to your bag or whatever. And I was like, the amount of waste and effort and energy that must have gone into creating this thing must be crazy. Not to mention people probably use the metal straw 4 times and then lose it. So
yeah, or it gets bent or whatever, and you know. Oh yeah.
Or they inhale it. Oh, the number of metal straws I have in my lungs because I got too excited about a milkshake. It's terrible.
Or they use it for blow or what, you know what I mean? Like whatever they're doing, you know what I mean? Whatever their life choices are. All right, that's this week in Government Secrets, everybody. Episode 81. Earth Day is bullshit. All right, so do you want to do your segment or my segment first?
Either one. I guess we have images for Operation Gladio loaded first, so we can do that.
Oh, you know what? Let me do mine first because I think yours is going to take a little longer.
Yeah.
And so we'll do mine first because it's very sort of basic. I want to talk about, here it is, the Smith-Mundt Act. So this is first. Let me go into the history of what the Smith-Mundt Act was. Written in 1948. Okay, the original Smith-Mundt Act, and what it.
and people think it may be named after the congressmen that put it forward, but actually someone just sneezed and that was the noise he made, so they named the act after that.
That's what it is. It's named after a congressional sneeze.
Yeah.
So basically, the Smith-Mundt Act, and this is the language from the it's called the United States Information and Educational Exchange Act of 1948. It's a very nice way to say this is how we're going to propagandize the rest of the world, right? It says Congress hereby declares that the objectives of this act are to enable, government of the United States to promote a better understanding of the United States and other countries, and to increase mutual understanding between the people of the United States and the people of other countries. Among the means to be used achieving these objectives are an information service to disseminate a broad information about the United States, its people, and policies promulgated by the Congress, the President, and the Secretary of State, and other responsible officials of the government having to do with matters affecting foreign affairs. So that's a funny, fancy, nice congressional way of saying propaganda, right? We're gonna propagandize. This is really. This is really the birthplace of post-World War II American exceptionalism. And we're going to spread that around the world using all these different ways. One of the things it said in the act in 1948, we can't do this against our own citizens, right?
Right.
So it said, all this educational exchange and interchange of persons' knowledge and skills, a rendering of technical services. So this is basically how we infiltrated and, expanded NATO, got military bases, 800 of them around the world. This is using the United Nations. So it goes into, the Secretary is authorized to provide for interchanges on a reciprocal basis between the United States and other countries, students, trainees, teachers. Boy, that just sounds like CIA training to me. That's all.
I was going to say interchanges on a reciprocal basis is a nice way of saying we'll get to indoctrinate your people.
Yes, this is how we're going to indoctrinate your people. You send us some of your people. This is how Juan Guaido was created.
You send us your best and brightest, and we will deaden them and subtract their soul, and then send them back to you like new, if new was a broken human being.
Yeah. We want to take someone that's probably a good, upstanding citizen and make them crazy and a little evil and do our bidding. Is that cool? And can we do that? So that's what the initial Mundt Act said, and they say the person specified in this section shall be admitted as non-immigrant visitors for business under Clause 2 of the Immigration Act in 1924. So you let us indoctrinate people, we'll give them visas and jobs and schooling. The books and materials. The Secretary's
there'll be a lot of perks. We'll give them tote bags. There'll be mugs that we'll give out.
Oh, they'll get little koozies. They'll get free bottles of pop, soda pop. It'll be fantastic.
Yeah.
So the United States sent books and periodicals, including government publication, for the translation of such writings and for the preparation, distribution, and interchange of other educational materials. So we literally are like, hey, is this cool if we just take over your press and your media and we just have it to our liking? So no one in your country is being critical of what the United States is doing. So we've been doing that since 1948, right?
But also,
so
weirdly saying we wouldn't do it to our own people, which I think speaks to how maybe some of Congress might have actually been legitimate back then.
Yeah, there might have been some legitimacy to Congress. And it also shows you how, and you and I have talked about this in other episodes, how like the Pentagon Papers were able to get out, how, you know, the Watergate was able to be revealed, all the criticisms of the Vietnam War, all the questions asked about the JFK assassination.
Yeah, shout out to Gravel, rogue congressperson, read the Pentagon Papers into the record.
Yep. Mike Gravel, RIP. So that was back when we still had a free press. That was still back when you couldn't, because you couldn't do this to the American people. Oh, but let's turn the clock forward to the glorious time beginning in 2010 during Obama's first term. You remember Obama? He did so many wonderful things.
He was the good guy, right? Remember that I recall he was one of the good. He was a good president.
I think you're right. The way you say it, the way you say it in that term, and you ask sort of like, I don't know, isn't that true? Then you must believe it. So first I went to the U.S. Agency for Global Media, which is the official website of the United States government. And this is how the law, they started it in 2010. It was introduced in 2010 and made a part of a larger piece of legislation in 2012, and it went into effect on July 2nd, 2013. So here's what it says. The new law will let people across America see and hear the valuable news reported by the agency's accomplished journalists.
The agency is CIA, is it?
I think that might be the agency. I think
they don't mean like CAA or one of the Hollywood agencies.
No, I don't know if it's show business people, but if
they don't mean
like
Mad Men, like an ad agency. No, they yeah. So
yeah,
we'll get to hear the accomplished journalism coming out of the CIA.
So what happened in 2012? We repealed this. So now we can propagandize our own people. So that's what happened. The repealing of that section of the Smith-Mundt Act in 2012 is what happened. So now this is again this is how they're selling it. So this website is a propaganda website. This is usagm.gov. And
it's part of media literacy. So a website is a propaganda website if it ends in .gov.
Yeah. Oh God, it takes into account, and this is why they went, oh, this next line is going to tell you why they repealed Smith-Mundt. Is they went, oh shit, this is 2010, 2011, 2012, when YouTube started taking off, social media started taking off, people started asking questions. There was this little website called WikiLeaks. There was stuff happening like Occupy Wall Street, where everybody was communicating online going, oh, they're lying to us at CNN. They're lying to us at MSNBC and Fox. So this next line is the most critical part of the repeal of the Smith-Mundt Act in 2012. It takes into account modern content platforms that are not restricted by national boundaries, such as the internet, mobile delivery, and satellite broadcasting.
God damn them for not being restricted.
Oh, we can't control our borders anymore. We can't control information. So this is what they call this. It's not repealing. And the way they phrased it, it's not, oh, now we can propagandize Americans. They call it, this is such great propaganda right here. The modernization of the Smith-Mundt Act will This, we're modernizing it, Lee. It's like we're adding a microwave to an old kitchen. You know what I mean? It's like a dishwasher that has multiple settings.
It's like when we had a federal ban on capital punishment, and then they modernized that by bringing executions back. We're modernizing not shooting people through the head by shooting them through the head more.
Yes, but it's in a modern sort of a headshot 2.0 is what it is, Lee. So they modernized the Smith-Mundt Act.
Yeah.
So I like that. And Epstein's plane modernized travel for children, like
for travel for children. You've seen the yellow buses. This is similar but modern.
Just the newer version of it, you know.
That's how people should have known some shit was up on that plane. It had one of those foldy stop signs that comes out on the side whenever the plane would stop. It had a blinky stop sign on the side of the plane.
Oh God. Oh, that's horrifying. But so the modernization of the Smith-Mundt Act, now listen, you're gonna love this next line, Lee, will facilitate global connectivity and audience engagement and will provide greater transparency into public funded broadcasting.
Audience engagement. That's what we're calling. We can now propagandize Americans more effectively. Audience engagement.
I want to feel like January 6th was just really good audience engagement. I feel like that's what happened at the camp. It was just
people were into it.
Yeah, I mean, they facilitated it by having FBI plants in the Oath Keepers and the Proud Boys. So they facilitated good it was great audience engagement.
Say what you will about the Q shaman wearing the horns, but he was engaged, man.
And people listened to him. Like it was really this is the it's
I mean and so there's a couple of things that people should remember. So I'm sure some people are going, I don't understand this. Clearly the US government propagandized people before 13 or 10 or whatever. Mm-hmm. But the thing was they would do it through the New York Times. They weren't doing it directly. Voice of America was not aired in America. Right. And so it was like, they didn't have direct CIA to American brain balls, preaching. What they did was they did manufacture consent for war, as we saw with the first Iraq War, WMD, right? But that was the government would quote unquote leak shit or tell shit to CNN, Fox News, New York Times. So we were still propagandized, but this allowed another level of it.
Yeah, and I think it's again, we did an episode where we talked about Hollywood's involvement, CIA with the CIA, and you can really see a distinct switch to just flagrant pro-war, pro-CIA propaganda post-2013. I mean, you can really see it. I mean, we talked about like movies in the 70s that were more critical of the government, more critical of like 3 Days of the Condor. I talk about like it's how it shows movies that were critical of the Vietnam War, like Apocalypse Now or Deer Hunter or something like that. But since 2013, man, you can see like the Marvel movies all have the CIA has script approval on all of them. And you can really see that clear demarcation between the propaganda you're talking about, how they would kind of weasel into just like the flagrant, like, nope, here's propaganda. And it's
full
on.
Yeah.
And like Americans, and we're so propagandized about everything. I mean, just about everything. And it's and anything to keep us fighting with each other too. Like that's part of it too, I think is how they deliberately pit us against each other on various subjects or whatever, so that we don't unify.
So this is, keeping us bickering with each other is part of the key. But this is important now, this government secret, because we're seeing a level of propaganda about Ukraine that in many ways we haven't seen before. I mean,
Yeah.
the Biden, I did a episode on the Biden administration, and our media have admitted that this is the first time where they're literally pretending that intelligence that they know is weak is 100%. So they will get, intelligence showing it's highly unlikely that Russia's going to use chemical weapons. And then they will come out and say Russia's going to use chemical weapons. And I don't know, but I'm sure people could argue that they've done this in the past, but there is even an NBC News article and other mainstream outlets saying this is a break from the past, where the Biden administration and the Pentagon are using weak intelligence or just going off a vibe they feel and pretending it is reality. And so in some ways, it seems to be a level of propaganda that we hadn't seen before.
Yeah, I mean, the Ukraine thing is so flagrant. I mean, it is just unbelievable how flagrant this is in what they're doing. And so I mean, this explains a lot, this Smith-Mundt Act. And, a fan said this in the chat. So this is but don't feel bad, guys. We're all just facilitating global connectivity and audience engagement, and will provide greater transparency into publicly funded broadcasting. So I think we're all set, guys. That's enjoy the modernization of the Smith-Mundt Act, everybody.
enjoy the modernization. Yes. Just like, wage slavery and endless debt is the modernization of your world. So
yes. The modernization of corporate servitude is what we're modernizing.
Yeah.
It's
how you took that job you fucking hated and you did it your whole life, your whole existence on the planet in order to pay off your student loan debt? That was the modernization of your life.
It's a modernization of education, Lee. And it's facilitating a global interconnectivity of the worker to better enhance their educational experience by being a wage slave for 40 years. It's fantastic.
Yep.
So that's government secrets, segment number 1, Smith-Mundt Act modernization. Now, GovSeek segment number 2 on episode 81.
Now we'll learn about the modernization of the CIA and NATO using Nazis to kill people and shit across Europe. So,
oh, fun! Another fun segment. We've modernized neo-Nazis for evil.
Yeah. Well, yeah. What we're seeing in Ukraine apparently is the modernization of Nazis, where you literally have MSNBC and CNN and everybody saying, these are good Nazis. Listen, these are the cool kind.
Oh.
So this, although this is not about present times, it is pivotal in this discussion of Nazis in Europe and across the Eurozone and their ongoing role throughout history since World War II. So this is about Operation Gladio.
I just curious, did you just type in operation and then put the letter G? Did you just do Operation Roulette like I do, or did you?
No, Graham, I'm sorry to disappoint. I can't claim I knew that much about it, but I interviewed Gabriel Rockhill the other day, who's a professor and kind of a specialist on the Nazi history since World War II in Europe and Ukraine. And he mentioned Operation Gladio a couple of times, so I thought it would be a good topic.
Nice.
But there's some good, if you're looking for some good operation names, we got some good ones coming up.
Yes.
So let's see. I'll show you this. We'll share this image real quick. And if you're listening on the podcast, if you ever want to watch the visual version, it's at youtube.com/Graham Elwood and Rockfin Graham Elwood. We put it up there. And I believe I put most of them up at patreon.com/Lee Camp as well. So, except for the ones where Graham is kind of weird. No, just kidding.
I'm edited out of some
Yeah.
of them. That's cool. That's totally cool.
There's just a silhouette, a guy in witness protection.
With one of those like righteous, it's like that. Yeah, it totally
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, blurred voice. Yeah. So this says during World War II, the British Special Operations Executive carried out clandestine missions to support resistance organizations, inspiring the later Operation Gladio. Okay, well, that doesn't sound so bad, right? The resistance operations sounds okay. But it turns into something kind of much worse than that as time goes on. So Operation Gladio grew out of the British auxiliary units formed during World War II. Fearing a German invasion, British military intelligence decided to train groups of people across Britain known as auxiliary units as a resistance movement. Basically, if the Germans come, you aren't soldiers. You're at home, but you'll be our hitmen in the streets if we end up being invaded. But according to The Guardian, these men weren't regular soldiers. They weren't paid and bore no official uniform. Instead, they were highly trained civilians ordered by their government to harass an occupying force from behind the lines, even after an official surrender. Now, during World War II, I think I probably would have supported that, right? If Nazis came into Britain and there were people that outside the armed forces that were killing Nazis, I'd be like, all right, good on you, dude. But although the auxiliary units couldn't be given commands once they were set out in the world, they were given a letter that listed local people who were to be assassinated in the event of an invasion. This list included former members who might be a security threat or people who were suspected local collaborators. So then World War II ends. There's not a German invasion of Britain. The clandestine committee is transformed into the Clandestine Planning Committee in 1952. And along with the Supreme Headquarters Allied Powers Europe, was linked to NATO. Through this network that NATO member states organized, the Stay Behind network across Western Europe that would become known as Operation Gladio. So it actually is initially known as the Stay Behind network. And rather than stopping Nazis, they go, as we've discussed with our history of World War II and the nuclear bombs, and some of our history of World War I, the true threat that the capitalist world and especially the United States and the bankers that ruled the United States viewed the real threat as the Bolsheviks and the communists. So
not Nazis.
Not after World War II, we were done with Nazis, and we were like, no. We're not worried they're coming back. In fact, we're going to bring some over, and they're going to help us get to the moon. But no, we were like, the real threat is this communism. And in fact, what we quoted last a few weeks ago was President Wilson saying, God forbid we send troops over to fight the Bolsheviks and they become impregnated with those ideas of, workers standing up and owning business, owning the corporations and, owning the means of production.
Because that just shows you how flawed they know their own system is. You know what I mean? Like, if you're confident in your system, it's like, I'm not worried that, like, if I started spreading socialism into a bunch of factory workers or people making shitty minimum wage jobs, I'm not worried that they're going to be mad at me. Most of them are going to go, damn, you're right. Like, you have a broken, flawed system, and you're like, boy, we don't want our soldiers waking up to how much bullshit we've been feeding them. Like,
it doesn't take much. If they find a pamphlet on the ground, we're in trouble.
Ooh, this is really bad.
If they find a rogue pamphlet, we are fucked.
We are really screwed. Any of that Bolshevism stuff, they're going to totally understand how they're getting dicked over every single day.
Yeah. So it basically gets repurposed. The Stay Behind network gets repurposed to fight.
I'm sorry, all these committees and it just all just sounds like daycare terms. You know what I mean? Just like PTA groups for junior highs, even though it's always committing some horrible act.
We've talked how amateur the CIA actually is behind closed doors. I mean, it's just them sitting around and giggling like, what if we made a bomb that turned people gay? All right. What if we threw diarrhea on them from a helicopter?
What if we took these balloons and it made a fart noise? What if we did that?
I mean, and part of that has to do with the fact that, it's only been the past 50 years that people have started living to like 80, which means our leaders are now like over 50. Whereas back, you go back 60, 80 years, our leaders like 12, 15 years old. I mean, they were people died at 40, they were.
Yeah, now we've got the sharp octogenarians like Joe Biden, just sharp as a tack.
And now we have the fucking mentally agile quickness of a Joe Biden and a Donald Trump.
Oh, Mitch McConnell, Pelosi, they just are like spry, sharp, fingers on the pulse. They got it.
Donald Trump, whose face is dyed to try and make sure he doesn't look like he's in his 70s. I don't know if there was one day where during the campaign, they decided to try a little harder to make Biden look young. And I don't know if it was his own doing or his whoever helps him shower, but he came out. He came out to like a campaign speech, and his hair was bright blonde. His hair was like fucking, just Christina Aguilera blonde.
I'm a genie in a bottle, baby. Come on.
And I don't know who fucked up or whether there was a boardroom decision of, he's gonna attract a lot more 20-year-olds if he has bright blonde hair. If he looks like Kato Kalin, then he can probably get more votes.
They're probably just like, we need to get the Avril Lavigne vote. Just like they just had some like pop singer that's not even that hot anymore.
Right.
Like,
they were like, he needs the Mandy Moore vote. They were like, she hasn't put out a song in 40 years.
I don't think she sings anymore, but all right, cool.
But anyway, I only saw it once, so I think they saw him on TV camera and they were like, "Holy shit, he looks like Donald Trump."
Oh, this is awful. He's already got the teeth that are way too white. Just says, "Hey, got my teeth whitened."
Honestly, I'm still waiting for the guy to come forward and say those are his teeth. Like some 25-year-old's gonna be like, "Yeah, he gave me $100. I needed it at the time. He said, 'Can I have your teeth?'"
Oh, you get to be inside the president's mouth, son. Here's a crisp $100 bill. All right, I'm behind on my rent, so I'll take it. Like,
I wouldn't put it past them. Maybe the speechwriters control those teeth so they can make it go back and forth like Mr. Ed, and then they can just make him talk.
When he just looks and doesn't know where he is. Oh, yeah. I've got a staff food. That's
why as we said earlier, the one thing they haven't mastered is getting him to face the right direction. So they have the teeth going. It's just the problem is he's facing away from the podium.
We're gonna make our military green. I like Avril Lavigne in concert.
So anyway, so I did find that there is a
I had to turn the fan on.
There's an alternate origin story which is not that different for the origins of Operation Gladio, which puts it more at the feet of the United States. This one says our old friend Alan Dulles, future director of the CIA, and his spy mentor, Wild Bill Donovan, devised a plan at the conclusion of World War II to prevent, as claimed, a Soviet invasion of Europe. The concept revolved around recruiting Nazi officers and other extreme right-wing elements to form so-called stay-behind units throughout the old continent, stationed clandestinely in several countries, ready to act on a moment's notice. They called the operation Gladio, and though the awaited Red invasion never materialized, the services of the covert militias who stashed CIA-provided armaments in thousands of secret locations were requisitioned on multiple occasions as the need to quash left-leaning movements arose. So actually, these two origin stories can kind of work together because the British created the Stay Behind network to fight the Nazis. Then World War II ends, the U.S. is actually more concerned about communism and Bolsheviks, and says, "Oh well, let's do what they did, except we're going to have it be far right wing people that are at the ready to fight leftists and communists."
Well, did this, and maybe you're going to get into it in a sec, but does this tie into a segment we covered, I think, a year ago, Operation Bloodstone, where we literally worked with ex-Nazis in communist countries to destabilize those communist countries in the 50s and 60s?
So it's very similar, and I assume there was coordination, but it's not mentioned in my history. But I assume, I mean, they're really not that different. But
Right.
But one of the key differences is that Operation Gladio is throughout Europe. So these are allied nations. These are friendly nations, and throughout Latin America. The CIA, with the help of MI6, was also instrumental towards setting up the stay-behind espionage networks. According to the Declassified History of American Intelligence Operations Europe, the CIA intended to do whatever it took to prevent Western Europe countries from having any communist influence in their governments. And by the late 1960s, the CIA was covertly financing dozens of underground stay-behind agent networks in 13 Western European countries, including supposedly neutral Sweden. I mean, think about what this fucking means. They are allied with Nazis and far right wingers to be like hitmen if like leftists start to get any political pull in allied nations.
Yeah, I see the difference. So Gladio was to do it in allied nations, to work with Nazis to fight them, and Threadstone was to just basically have Nazis go into communist countries and try to stir shit up. But like, this is just in case.
I think you said Threadstone, which I'm pretty sure is from Bourne Identity, but
yeah, you're right. It's Bloodstone. Bourne Identity is a documentary. I don't know if you know this.
Listen, same shit.
It's so like, I love the principle of like, let's just leave behind a couple of psychos just in case, like just break glass. There's Nazis, just smash the glass and let these Nazis run loose in case of a lefty fire breaks out.
It's just like Mickey Rourke and Steven Seagal with massive weaponry, just hiding in a basement, at the ready.
Mickey Rourke and Steven Seagal. You guys seem nuts. You guys seem really banana boat.
You seem a little unhinged.
Yeah, we're gonna give you guns. It's gonna be awesome. So just hang around, and if you hear any sort of labor rallies, just run out through the cellar door and just start chopping people up. If you guys
don't mind the southern door and just start going at it. So by the late 1960s, stay-behind networks were established in numerous European countries, each with their own code name. The name Operation Gladio comes from the Italian campaign. Meanwhile, in Greece, it was called Thunderbird or Red Sheepskin. In Belgium, it was Eye Clipper. And
what?
Maybe it's a Belgian word, but I don't know. Eye Clipper. That's my Belgian accent. Eye Clipper.
Oh man, I felt like I was right in Belgium, wherever when I closed my eyes, I was like, we're in downtown Belgium or wherever they have it. Because I'm pretty sure Belgium is also near something. This I know for a fact.
Oh my God, Graham, I'm glad you brought that up. I was actually going to talk for a while about how we have unconfirmed reports Belgium is near something.
There's no way. I'm dumber than anybody at the CIA. There's no way.
I was just going to say, I think we easily could have called this podcast, Even Idiots Can Figure Out the Truth. Like, even morons can know how this shit works.
Club comedian idiots can just literally use cursory knowledge and connect dots using a search engine on the internet, and they can figure out how awful America is.
Yep. So we got one more good code name. In Turkey, it was called Xwood.
Yeah, that was my nickname in high school.
I was gonna say that's what I was called when the Viagra didn't work. But
No, they had me do stay behind after football games. I'd stay behind the rival school, and I just mess with their practices and stuff like that. And I'd put
okay.
Yeah.
And you were X-Wood. Got it.
I put X-Lax in their food so that they just shit too much.
It's one of the lesser known X-Men. He didn't really make it big because it was all about the fact that he had a hard on all the time. That was like his power, was just having wood. Just having wood.
It's the 24/7 boner.
Yeah, it really wasn't useful. Like the other X-Men were like, "This is why you here." Like you just seem overexcited about everything.
Yeah, and you just always just rubbing into people and trying to stick your dick in everything. I don't get what's the crime fighting angle here.
Sure, you clotheslined Mystique one time, but that honestly, that's not enough, man. It's not enough.
Okay, you can have sex a bunch of times in a row, but like, how does that fight crime? Like, that's what we're doing here. Like,
yeah, like you're not, yeah. In an attempt to fight any political influence from the left, in most countries like Italy, ex-fascists and right-wing extremists were recruited, funded, and armed. And Danielle Ganser writes, in NATO's secret armies, that in Turkey, many former gray wolves and other right-wing extremists, which gray wolves were, I think, Nazis, recruited directly from prisons into the stay-behind death squads.
Oh God. Hey, you know those psychos we locked up because they were just a danger to society? I say, now listen, hear me out. I say we let them loose and we give them money and guns and let them just kind of run wild a little bit. You know what I mean?
You know those experimental weapons we've been working with that explode a whole city block? Well, let's give those to ex-cons who've been locked up for being Nazi death squads and just see what happens. I mean,
what's the worst that could happen?
What's the worst that could happen?
Letting jailed Nazis loose. What's the worst that could happen?
On May, I imagine they didn't even have to give him much of an offer. It was like, how much you paying? Nothing. All right, I'm a Nazi and I like guns, so sure.
Sold.
In 1958, during the Algerian War for Independence, a demonstration in Algeria is so. Now we get into some of the events in history that we know had some connection to Operation Gladio, but there are many events that are people believe were likely had a connection, but it can't be proven because you've got people that are not connected to the military performing hits or other things, and it never gets actually revealed. But during the Algerian War for Independence, a demonstration in Algeria is said to have turned into a quasi-insurrectional riot, which resulted in the military taking over. This takeover extended over to mainland France. The coup initially involved an element known as Operation Resurrection, which would entail parachutists. So their writing is a little confusing here. I think they mean, it's taken over France, and I think it's, left wing or maybe even communist. I didn't do enough research on this, but yeah, okay, it was French communist. But in order to stop them, a coup was planned involving Operation Gladio agents, which would entail parachutists dropping down around Paris to take control over vital centers of Paris and arrest a number of politicians, as well as the entire direction, the leadership of the French communists. But just hours before Operation Resurrection was about to commence, Charles de Gaulle announced that he'd successfully taken over the government. The stay behind
paratroop people in to
Yeah.
Paris in the off chance that the communists came to power?
Yeah. To take out communist leadership.
Oh God. America's so crazy. America is such an insane asylum.
I mean, here's the thing. I would be far less upset about that if they were just like sending them in trains or buses. It's the parachute that's disturbing.
I know. Like literally, you know how much coordination has to go into like an airdrop that
Right.
They were like, yep, we're going to drop into Paris and take over Paris with ex-Nazi soldier cannibals or whoever they rounded up and there's psycho
Cannibals.
just
Well, it was a partial success. They did eat 3 communists. So,
one of them got sick, but I think overall we were happy with the results.
the stay-behind army in France, known first as Plan Bleu and later as Rose de Vin, already had explicit. Everything I say in French sounds sarcastic. I don't know how to stop that. It just always does.
I think the French can handle it.
Like croissant. You ever gone up and ordered a croissant? You sound like you're telling the guy to go fuck himself. In America.
But that's how the French talk. The French always talk like they're telling you to go fuck yourself, no matter. That's
true. But I don't think they sound that way to each other.
No.
They only sound that way to us. Yeah.
Yes, they hate us. And doing this show, I can't imagine why anyone would hate an American.
I don't. It is beyond me. Do they not know we have Disney World?
I mean,
like didn't we bring the French Disney World? Anyway.
Oh God.
So the Stay-Behind Network in France already had explicit instructions to secretly prevent the powerful PCF, the French Communist Party, from coming to power. And meaning prevent, like, fucking kill people. Yeah. This is not prevent, like, rally some voters and stop them from taking power. This is like execute people.
Like, line him up in your crosshairs and blow his head apart. That's how we're going to do this. And we're going to paratroop in these serial killer psychos to do this.
Yeah.
If this was a video game idea, you would think this is a little crazy for a video game, right? Like this is the plot of a video game is we let loose a bunch of Nazi zombie cannibalists out of a prison, and we're going to paratroop them into Paris to stop the communists from taking over. You'd be like, this is the craziest plot. Like, this is like, if I told you this is, if I was pitching, you were an executive in Hollywood, and I pitch you this, you'd be like, oh, so it's like a Sharknado. It's like a Sharknado. It's crazy. It's that crazy.
We can throw a tornado in there, but yes, exactly. They have parachutes. They're coming in hot. They're coming in fast. Okay.
Yeah, just parachuting Nazis.
They're coming in hot. It's Steven Seagal and Mickey Rourke, and they are cannibals that want to eat communists.
And Sean Astin is going to play the young communist that they eat, and they're going to eat him right under the Arc de Triomphe. It's going to be great. That's the closing shot.
And everything they say in French sounds sarcastic. I don't know why. So when Aldo Moro, Prime Minister of Italy in 1964, decided to include the Italian Communist Party in his governmental coalition, so communists getting some power, Operation Gladio seemingly shifted into action and started planning a coup. According to NATO's secret armies, and keep in mind, every time they say shifted into action, in some regards, this means like they're just doing it without even like there's no command structure. It's just people left there and be like, hey, if any leftists get into power, this is fucking, kill them, kidnap them, whatever you got to do. According to NATO's secret armies, the book, the coup was planned by chief of the Carabinieri, the Italian paramilitary police, General Giovanni De Lorenzo, along with CIA secret warfare expert Vernon Waters, chief of the Rome CIA station Williams Harvey, and Renzo Rocco, director of the Gladio units. AP, so this is even the AP, reports that the coup known as Piano Solo entailed deploying 20,000 carabinieri policemen across Italy who would occupy television and radio stations as well as Communist Party buildings. 731 leading leftist politicians were also to have been rounded up and detained at a military base on the island of Sardinia. Ultimately, a fully fledged coup was never enacted, but the Gladio Stay-Behind army didn't wait idly by. Before the planned coup, Rocco reportedly used the Gladio Stay-Behind army to set off bombs in numerous offices and thereafter blame the terror on the left. And, the Gladio Stay-Behind army didn't wait idly by. Before the coup, Rocco reportedly used the Gladio Stay-Behind army to set off bombs in numerous offices and thereafter blame the terror on the left. And, the Gladio Stay-Behind army didn't wait idly by. Before the coup, Rocco reportedly used the Gladio Stay-Behind army to set off bombs in numerous offices and thereafter blame the terror on the left. So here's a part where Wikipedia disagrees. So Moro is ultimately kidnapped and executed, the prime minister. And Wikipedia acts like it was left-wing extremists or communist extremists who did this. But most of the evidence that's come forward since shows that it was basically Operation Gladio blaming it on communists. This is from a Mint Press article. Gladio's unholy alliance maintained a covert army of former Nazis with hidden weapon caches to call upon should the need arise, as it did in Italy's so-called Days of Lead, when Italian businessmen were kidnapped and Prime Minister Aldo Moro was assassinated by Gladio operatives, but blamed on the communists to discredit them. So this is a good example of what we say about Wikipedia, is like Wikipedia admits Gladio existed. They admit, most of it, but when it comes to the assassination of the Italian prime minister, they go, "Oh, it was leftists."
Of course, and again, we see such a pattern doing this show. Like, how many times have they done this tactic, where some CIA funded horrible thing comes in and let's make it look like the leftists did it. Let's make it look like it was terrorists. Let's make it look like it was anybody but us, the actual evil people. It's
yeah. I mean, it makes sense if you're a hitman spy for the world's largest empire, you should leave a few footprints that make it look like it was someone else. Oh, I don't know, like the fact that apparently the KGB only tries to assassinate people with poisons that never work, that all point directly back to the KGB, like Novichok. They're like, yes, we will only use poisons that everyone can look at and go, clearly this was the KGB.
Yes, because it comes in a bottle that says KGB poison. And they just leave that next to the...
Apparently the KGB has no access to guns or anything. They just have access to Russian named chemicals that can kill people.
Yes, they don't. And their scientists don't know how to come up with any other chemicals other than Russian poisons. They can't make anything. Hemlock, they couldn't get it. They couldn't even
they couldn't even kill someone with that substance that a lot of people have died from. What's it called? Oh, water. That's right. They can't drowning. They haven't mastered. So they just use Novichok.
They haven't figured out how to shoot just an air bubble in a syringe into someone, giving them a heart attack. And if you do this, the syringe like through their toes, no one will see it. So it just looks like, oh, the person had a heart attack. The Russians don't know how to do that. It's only just a big bottle of Novichok, premium grade Russian.
This is all we've come up with after all this time. Traditional Russian killing method, Novichok. It's all there is.
And there's just KGB handprints on it, and it's just drinking the guy. Like, yeah.
I'm waiting for, like in Britain, for a Russian dissident to just be killed with a Russian flag through the heart. And they go, clearly this was the Kremlin. They stabbed him with a Russian flag through the heart.
And there's just, we have security cam footage. Is just some guy in a bad Putin mask. Oh, it was Putin. He did it. He stabbed the guy with a heart, with a flag in his heart.
All right. I'm trying to summarize some of this because I know we're running out of time, but, in Portugal in 1966, the CIA set up a stay-behind army known as Agentur Press under direction of blah, blah, blah. According to the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology, Zurich, the army was trained in bomb terrorism, silent assassination. That's so much better than loud assassination, dude. For a while, they were killing people with those happy birthday, noisemakers. And that was...
Yeah, the things that go like those were loud. Yeah,
party poppers. There was a lot of trick party poppers.
Yeah.
So they were like, you know what? We're going to start a class on silent assassination. It's mainly mimes garroting people. For those listening at home, I will narrate Graham's miming. He seems to be in some sort of box. He has opened the box. He's now out of the box with a knife. Oh, God. It's gotten bloody. It's actually too graphic for me to keep describing. It's really this is vulgar. I can't keep narrating this.
This is the kind of fun stuff you'll see at the live shows whenever we start to book dates.
Silent assassination, subversive techniques, clandestine communication, infiltration, and colonial warfare. And colonial synonymous with warfare. And this training was likely incorporated into the assassination of Eduardo Chivambo Mondlane 3 years later. Mondlane was the president of the Mozambican Liberation Party, leader of the Frente Libertatoire de Mozambique. I can't pronounce any of this. And at the forefront of the anti-colonial movement in Mozambique, according to Geneva, Afrique. But in
You say it fast and angry, and it sounds like you know what you're talking about.
I tell you that. According to Libertador Mozambique. But in 1969, he was assassinated in Dar es Salaam when he opened an explosive package. So this part is about how Operation Gladio was, at the very least, well armed. Associated Press reports that stockpiles of arms and explosives were hidden across Western Europe between 1950 and 1990 for the thousands of stay-behind operatives. In Germany, pistols, grenades, grenade launchers, explosives, and radios were stored in secret caches. I don't know how secret they needed to be with the radios. And in Greece, weapons and ammunition were found buried between 1985 and 1988 when the network was dismantled. Somewhat dismantled. And even when the stay-behind armies were dismantled, not all the secret arms deposits were found, like the 12 in Italy that reported disappeared. Even the New York Times reported this. According to a declassified U.S. Department of State document, when a weapons cache was discovered in the Netherlands in the 1980s, it was reported to likely be connected to Gladio, and former Dutch Defense Minister Hendrikus Verderling claimed that he was aware of the arms caches and of the assignment of those for whom those weapons were intended, although he never revealed the assignment or the intended recipients of the weapons. So literally you have, in some instances, defense ministers of countries being like, oh, yeah, we know there's a crazy, mountain of guns and explosives somewhere, but don't worry, only a small group of Nazis know where it is.
And there's a short list of lefties that they're going to try to murder, but we'll get to that later. We're just letting Nazis run free, and they know where the weapon cache is, and you'll be fine. Don't worry about it, guys. It's all good.
Let's see. In 1990, Italian Prime Minister Giulio Andreotti revealed the existence of Operation Gladio in Italy. The New York Times reports that Andreotti described the stay-behind army as originally an Italian creation. He's like taking credit for it. He's like, listen, it was Italian before all you guys picked it up, all right? We were doing it first.
We've been doing stay behind since way back in the day before the CIA came in.
We've been having dudes with swastikas tatted on their neck, killing communists, killing those commie bastards since you were in diapers.
We've been burying machine guns while you were out there, sucking on your mama's boobs. You know what I mean? We've been doing this for years.
Andreotti also said that the Italian branch of Operation Gladio operated within NATO and abetted by a 1956 agreement between the United States and Italian secret services. So I'm going to wrap up here in a minute, but first of all, this is massively important considering this went up to the 1990s, and let's be honest, if there's still caches out there, which clearly there are, and there's still Nazis who know where they are, then it's kind of still going. And this is, so the idea that NATO doesn't work with Nazis, which they're doing right now with the Azov Battalion, et cetera, in Ukraine, is, you can see it. You can see it through history. It's not like, this is not like they woke up yesterday and they go, you know what, maybe we'll work with those Nazis in Ukraine. No, apparently NATO and the U.S. and CIA have a long history of liking Nazis. But I wanted to get to kind of an interesting note about all this, which is you learn these facts and you can kind of start to put together some things on your own. So, like, for example, I was like, wow, there were far right wingers with access to all kinds of guns told to take out leftists that gain power in European countries. And so I was like, I wonder if I know any, can I think of any left wing, prime ministers who were assassinated? And then I remembered Olof Palme in Sweden, assassinated in the 1980s, left winger. There's many various things he was doing that were kind of outside of what was allowable for even for the so-called Scandinavian or not so-called, but the Scandinavian countries that were so-called left, and came out against many things like Vietnam and stuff like that. And he was assassinated in the streets at night, and for years they said they didn't know who it was, they couldn't figure it out. And then eventually, in 2020, recently, they said, oh, we figured out who it is. It's this loner. He did it. And so I Googled Olof Palme assassination and connection to Gladio. And here's a Mint Press article. Actually, I could show it on the screen here. Mint Press, by the way, great independent organization that I will soon be doing a new show with if their fundraiser is successful. Let's see here. Share this. So here's Mint Press from 2020. Gladio links remain unsolved as Sweden identifies new Olof Palme assassin. And the reason they say new is because this is the third person that they've said, oh, yeah, it was him. He did it. He killed Palme. Swedish authorities declare that they have identified a dead man as Olof Palme's assassin. I assume he was probably alive during the time of the assassination, though. Let's hope. But questions surrounding the former prime minister's death to Operation Gladio linger. And here's some of the key parts of the article. Last week, Swedish authorities held a press conference to announce they had finally identified the real killer of the controversial Swedish prime minister gunned down outside of a theater more than 30 years ago. The third man accused of murdering the head of state since the shocking incident took place more than 30 years ago. Stig Engström, a Swedish graphic designer, was blamed, ostensibly putting an end to the numerous conspiracy theories surrounding Palme's death, which included ties to Chilean fascists, Kurdish rebels, apartheid South Africa, and Operation Gladio, a secret post-war alliance between the CIA, the Vatican, and the Mafia, which recruited former Nazi officials to form so-called stay-behind units all over Europe. Anyway, it goes into, and people can go read that article if they want all the details, but it goes into the connections between what might have happened to Palme and Operation Gladio. And so, yeah, we don't know for sure who killed him, but very well could have been.
And, as this ties to Ukraine, who's to say some of these stay behind groups haven't, they've just kept training over the years. And now when this Ukraine shit went down, they just, like a terror cell, just, activated, found the cache, and now they're in Ukraine doing whatever,
Right.
It's just madness. Like this, boy, America just leaves behind a horrific trail of tears, and everything that America and all of these operations and everything is the bold-face antithesis of what America supposedly stands for in its Constitution and Declaration of Independence and Bill of Rights.
Yeah. And, I suppose you could argue, well, America's, if not responsible for everything done by a Nazi with a gun. Yeah, well, stop handing Nazis guns. All right.
Then you're not a fan of Nazis. I wouldn't give them a gun. That's just me. I wouldn't give them a gun. And then money and orders. That's
and a light agreement that if someone left wing comes to power, you should probably take them out.
Yeah, just a standing order. If any lefties get any kind of leverage in any way, kill them, set them on fire. I'm not saying don't stuff the ballot box or no, just murder them.
No,
just take them out.
Getting all the signatures you need just to run, it's a bitch.
Just set their campaign office on fire while they're in it. Do that.
So there you go. Operation Gladio. And
Aberration.
I'm sorry it wasn't more in depth. Honestly, we could do like a 2-part series with all the details. Maybe we will a couple of years from now when Government Secrets is, playing to the Madison Square Garden. But for now, we'll stick with this.
Yeah, and I would love just I love just a show that has a long list of ridiculous operation names. I just can't get enough of these ridiculous names that they come up with. It's beautiful for me.
We're now at the point I knew we'd get to the Bourne singularity, where you can now say things that happened in Bourne movies, Jason Bourne movies, and we won't even pause thinking it might not be true.
Yeah, this is based on a true story, or like it's a leaked document or something. Some CIA guy helped write the script for one of those Bourne movies. Of course, I can only hope. But honestly, the Bourne movies are probably fictional because they make too much sense, and the CIA is presented as just too smart and logical. And the stuff you and I actually uncover, we see them as just like lunatics with no real plan and not very smart. Like.
Yeah. I mean, they create immense blowback, but I suppose they probably go home and go, well, I created a failed state across much of the world, so that's a success,
I know there's 24 caches of weapons buried throughout Europe that Nazis can use anytime, and that just makes me just sleep. I just sleep like
it's better than Ambien. Better than Ambien. They often say, if you don't have access to Ambien, just bury some weapons for some Nazis.
Oh, all right. Well, sounds like the modernization of Nazis is what this was. Is they just
yeah.
So I think that's it. That's Government Secrets episode 81. Lee Camp, where can people find all of your fine leftiness?
Guys, I'm starting a new show called The Most Censored News with Lee Camp with Mint Press and Behind the Headlines. And it's only going to happen if their fundraiser is successful. So check out my Twitter at Lee Camp. You can find the link to the Indiegogo campaign. You can also just go to Indiegogo and search for it. Search for Mint Press and Behind the Headlines. But the reason they're at Indiegogo and not GoFundMe is because they had a long-running fundraiser that GoFundMe just canceled and said, oh, you violate our policies or something like that. So they've been canceled by GoFundMe and have moved over to Indiegogo.
I've sort of accepted the fact that we don't live in a free society. Like I really just we don't live in a free society. And if there was good surfing in China, I would just live there because at least it would be straightforward.
At least they're like, we censor our news.
Yeah, we censor our news and you can't be critical of the government. I'd be like, okay. Like if they said, here's $1 million a year, Graham, but you can be as critical as you want as the US, you just can't be critical of us. I'd go, fine, that's fine. Can I surf and do shows? Great. I don't, and watch baseball on occasion. Yeah, that's great. Well, I'll do that because at least I know it's I'd just rather know where I stand rather than just arbitrary shutting down and pretending we're a democracy when we're not. We're not a democracy in any way, shape, or form. Like,
yeah, I hate being lied to.
I hate being lied to. Like I've always said, like the mafia has more honor than our government because they're just like, yeah, we're criminals. We just do drugs and prostitution and gambling, and that's what we do. Folks, if you watch my show Political Vigilante, check it out. I just interviewed John Kiriakou and Sean O'Brien talking about the importance of Panquake, which is another way out of this dystopian nightmare.
So did I.
Yeah, that was awesome talking to those guys. So I've been demonetized for 15 months now on YouTube. So any way that you can support me is helpful. And of course, support this show, liberapay.com/government secrets. And Lee and I are talking about tour dates and other ways you can support the show. We're working on all that stuff. So like, share, subscribe, spread this out on all your social media, and then follow both of us. And all my tour dates are at grahamelwood.com.
Thanks, man. Have great shows.
All right, buddy. We'll see you soon.
Later.
Later. Lee Camp, everybody. Government secrets. Keep it funny, you two. We will, Tyler Russell. Getting back to the road to do shows seems to have energized you, Graham. Yes, it does. I love performing. I love it. Yeah, it's great. Hello, everybody over on Rockfin. You can support the show at rockfin.com/Graham Elwood. Everybody over at Twitch, how are you? Good to see you. And how many likes did we get? 237 likes. That's not bad. That's not bad. All right. You will have a permanent firm erection on demand if you fund them through Labir. What's up, Annabelle? How you doing? Annabelle got to see the Dollop live in Australia. Oh, I want to go to Australia so bad. I want to do shows in Australia. Oh, hey, Graham sent you a link on Patreon for Operation Popeye. Cool. I'll check that out. I got it. And also, I'll check my Venmo. All right. Let me see here. Let's see if anybody was on the Venmo. It's another way to support the show at Graham-Elwood. But if you like government secrets, go to Labir Pay. That's for both Lee and I do that. Labir Pay is great. All right. And thank you to everybody who already is on Labir Pay. We appreciate it. Australia's too authoritarian for my taste. Nowhere's more authoritarian. Come to Chicago with Lee, please. Well, I was just there performing, but we will. We're going to be doing Europe first. Lee and I are going to do government secrets in Europe in September. We're working on that. We're talking to a venue in Prague. I'm going to set up a meeting with a guy that can help me find dates in, I think, Berlin. So we're going to do that. We're going to do that. Doing government secrets from China seems appropriate. Yeah. Yes, it does. 255 likes. I love it, everybody. Come on. Graham was in Chicago late 2 weeks. It was one of the best live shows I've ever seen. Thank you, Tony DeMeo. Thank you to everybody that came out. So if you're in LA, come to Burbank. I'm headlining Flappers in Burbank. It is Thursday, April 28th. It's a 10 o'clock show. And Ron Placone's on that show. Shoshone Livingston, who was on Anything Can Happen. And we're going to have Mary Lynn Riceka, but she's shooting some TV series for Fox or something like that up in Toronto, which is great. I'm glad she's working. So Rosie Tran is going to be. Rosie Tran's a stand-up comic. You've seen Rosie on the show numerous times talking about crypto. So she's going to be on the show. So get your tickets at grahamelwood.com. And then if you're, I'll be in Ventura Friday and Saturday, the 29th and 30th. Check that out. And then Ron Placone and I are doing our tour, the progressive comedy tour, whatever you want to call it, post-pandemic. I don't know what we're calling it now. Everything changes. Pacific Northwest, Portland. We're coming to you July 28th, Seattle, July 29th, and Vancouver, Canada, July 30th. That's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, last weekend in July. Tickets at grahamelwood.com. So check that out. Check that out. Boom. All right. Thank you to everybody watching over on the Rockfin and the Twitch and the 261 likes on the YouTube. I appreciate that. Hello. All right. Dave and Gareth of the Dollop have new podcast pastimes. I got to see the live preview at the venue Graham and Ron performed at in Melbourne. Oh, that's a fun venue. Right on. All right, everybody. That's the show. I got to perform tonight. I've been doing so many shows and live streams. My voice is a little fried, so I got to go. 266 likes. Yeah, there's 266 likes on YouTube. I don't know what Rockfin is. All right. Thank you, guys. I'll be live again. Let's see. I'll do the late night crypto lounge. Monday, we're going to do it Monday. All right. So Monday, we're doing a late night crypto lounge. I know we were going to do it the first Monday of every month. We're going to do early at 6, but we're going to try to do it early 2 Mondays in a row. So next Monday, late night crypto lounge, 6 o'clock Pacific time. Okay. And if you just tuned in and you're missing this, if you're a Rockfin premium member or a Patreon member, the live stream is available. Yes. Tyler Russell, Shave Your Knuckles for Justice. Thank you for supporting us at rockfin.com/Graham Elwood. I appreciate that, Tyler. Thank you for supporting our show. It's free to sign up for Rockfin. And there's a bunch of free content on Rockfin. All my videos have no ads on Rockfin. And also you can get a $10 premium level on Rockfin. And for that $10, you get everybody's access to everybody's premium content. Lee, Abby Martin, Ron, Jimmy, I don't know, Kim Iverson, everyone's over there. So thank you, Holly, for moderating. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Come join us on the road. Come to the shows. Buy tickets to the shows, because if the ticket sales are good, man, we'll come back to that town. Lemon and honey, warm water for the throat. Thank you so much. Buy you Hunk Cycle. Thank you, Valerie. That's very sweet. Let's see. There it is. 272 likes. I don't know. Can we get that up to 300? Can we get that up to 300 before we go, everybody? Come on now. Yeah. Honeysuckle. Lemon honey with warm water. Don't know the venue you're planning, but it'll be all right. Thank you. Boom. All right. So Monday, late night crypto lounge at 6 o'clock. And then Tuesday, no show next week. But next week, I've lined up next Wednesday, the 27th, 3 p.m. Pacific, Gordon Dimmick. Bam. Julian Assange activist. We're going to talk to him about the Assange case. Unfortunately, it sounds like he's going to get extradited, which is awful. But we're going to talk to Gordon Dimmick about that Wednesday. So it'll be a big, big week next week. 300 likes. Come on. 300 likes. What are we at? 276. That's just creeping up there. Yeah, it is pretty sad. KGB, Arthur, I know it is sad. And I know it's tough for people to watch this. And it is depressing. It is depressing. But we got to keep the fight going, and we got to find the positive stuff to focus on. Because I've gone through all of this, focusing on all the negative. It's tough. And I've had, last summer was like, oh boy, it was hard, man. So We got to just keep fighting the fight. That's what Panquake's about for me. You know, it's going to free us from this crap. And yeah, free Julian Assange. Absolutely. Free Julian Assange, man. It ain't right what they're doing. It's criminal. We're not a free society. 282. Come on, hit the like button, everybody. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. Let's get it up to 300. Hit the like button. You can do it. You can do it. Boom, 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 boom. You're right, Graham. We all have to work together and expose the government secrets. You're right, Mr. Wonderful. That is the goal. They try to divide the left. I ate too many peeps earlier. Super sugar high. 286. Come on, 287. Let's hit it. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. We're almost there. We're almost there. Hit the like button. You can do it. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. What's not to cry about? Who here seriously didn't load up on Raytheon stocks before this war really got going? Seeing live comedy again is wonderful. Wearing a mask is a small price to keep everyone safe. Yeah, it's no big deal. Go see live comedy. That's so cool you did that. 291. Come on, nine more. 9 more. Sorry. Sneezy breezy. I heard Mexico is nationalizing their lithium. Regime change war, the U.S. Oh, boy. Could be. Who knows? Thank you so much. 291 likes. Let's hit the like button. Come on, everybody. 292. Get it up there. Get it up there. As Lee would say, keep fighting. That's what you got to do. That's what you got to do. $296, 4 more likes, 4 more likes. I play co-ed tennis with retired Raytheon middle manager. She's a couple decades my senior and has a psychopath, and she's as psychopathic as you'd imagine. Yep. Of course. Of course. 300, we did it. You guys are the best. You're the best and smartest fans in the world. I love this global community, man. We're doing the best we can. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much for supporting what we do here. Boom. So, all right, everybody. Thank you. You guys are the best. We'll see you Monday at 6 o'clock Pacific. Government Secrets, 6 o'clock Pacific. New start time, 6 o'clock Pacific. Monday, not Government Secrets. Late Night Crypto Lounge, Monday, 6 o'clock Pacific. So check that out, everybody. And then Gordon Dimmick next week. And yeah. Australian government said nothing. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. And stay safe and work together. Shave your knuckles for justice.